So we're 6 days away from the budget, Guy. We've been waiting for a long time for this one, haven't we, really?
It seems an age, doesn't it? Well, it seems like we've already had it about 3 times.
Well, yeah, she came out, didn't she? Made that unscheduled press conference.
Yep.
That was, 2 weeks ago now,
2
was it?
Mondays ago.
Yeah.
2
where
Mondays ago, yeah.
I think everybody thought at that time that she was alluding to income tax rises in the budget.
Well, she was.
Yeah. And flying that kite, and then all of a sudden there would appear to have been backtracking on that. We shall find out obviously in the budget as to whether she is or she isn't. But I've been looking at what the predictions are and what the analysts have been saying and what we might expect from the budget. And I thought we could go through the list because there's quite a list and sort of give it a probability score out of 1 to 10. What do you think?
Good. Are you going to keep a record of this? Are we going to?
I could well do. Yeah, I could well do. I might look at this back again, then we can have a look after next week. And
do you want 1 to 10 or yes or no?
I think let's do one. Let's do yes or no, shall we?
Yes or no? Okay. So we both do it.
Yeah. Okay. So what we've just been talking about, raising income tax would be the first time in 50 years that a sitting government has raised income. I mean, you'll remember back in the 70s. 60s and 70s, they used to up and down income tax all the time, didn't they?
It wasn't such a big thing. Well, no. Mind you had budget purdah, didn't you? It was a sackable offence, wasn't it, if any of your budget leaked?
Yeah.
So, and a big fat no, given all the noise.
Yeah, it doesn't look as though it's going to happen, does it, the income tax rate? Another thing that's been floated, freezing personal allowances.
Oh, definitely.
Do we think that's going to happen, do we?
Even though she said she wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And do we think that there may be changes to the income tax bands? Do we think there may be some sort of because I wonder whether they might consider adding another band on or at the top.
Well, trouble is it's complicated enough as it is. I think they won't. Certainly not at the bottom end.
No.
But if they do freeze tax thresholds in a year or two, the state pension is in taxable territory. So that'll be a bit of a worry for them.
Yeah.
But I would say my money's on a yes for freezing tax thresholds for another couple of years.
Okay. And I'd agree with that. I think that's probably coming up.
So we've had a no and a yes.
Yeah. And okay, we're looking at wealth taxes now.
Yep.
The general consensus seems to be that they'd be looking at fiddling with council tax bands.
Yep.
And I was quite interested when I was looking at this because you're probably aware of this, the top band, which is band H, which was set in 1991.
Yeah.
Its property is valued at 320,000 plus.
Bargain.
Well, it's huge, isn't it? I mean, 320,000. I mean, those people who own properties that are worth 2 million are paying the same council tax as somebody who's got a 2 up, 2 down, or in Brighton, for example. So I think there's room there for an extra, an extra band or fiddling around with thresholds in council tax. Quite how that feeds through. I mean, most council tax generally, the income from council tax goes to councils, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that they'd have to have a central government tax effectively bolted on to
or they cut the central support.
Yeah, okay, they do it that way. Yeah, you could do it that way, I suppose. Yeah.
But it's a clever one, isn't it? Because it depends on how the media pick it up. By the time it actually gets paid, which will be next April when it starts to get paid, people have forgotten it's a Rachel Reeves increase and has just blamed the council. Yeah.
So what would you do? I mean, presumably here, what you do is add another band on at the top from £1 million or £2 million.
Without complicating it, all of those bands that you referenced, even the top one, have they been indexed up? If you buy a new property, like I did, they fit you in, not to what you paid for it, but to one of the bands. But anyway, so I guess you'd have to make it $1 million plus.
Yeah, but politically, you wouldn't.
But then, how do you value it? Who does it?
Well, I suppose the same. You'd have to have a revaluation, the same as you've had in the past, wouldn't you? Somebody would have to be employed to do that. I mean, you could just look at the values of properties in certain areas and how so AI may be a textbook exercise in sort of
Yeah, true.
valuation. But I
Yeah.
do think they need to be careful here, because from a political perspective, if they start raising council tax for those people who've got a property that's worth 320,000, you're affecting a hell of a lot of middle class
No, they won't do
families,
that.
aren't you?
They
So,
won't do that
yeah,
because
yeah,
there's be a lot of working people
yeah,
in that. It'll be the additional at some sort of additional banding,
yeah,
million, million and a half, 2 million.
yeah.
It's
I
got to
think
be reasonably low. It's million sounds a
to
lot.
make enough money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
It's, depending on where you are, 1 million isn't as much.
yeah,
That'll give them a headache with second homes, but that's another story.
yeah. We'll worry
'Cause-
about that when we get to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, one that I know you're going to be happy about.
That's
and
a yes, then, is it?
That's
Is
a
it-
yes. I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
I think we agree on that. That's a yes. Bank or utility windfall taxes.
Yeah.
The banks have made a lot of money over the last few years, and I know you're, Guy, friend of the shareholders.
Yeah.
In respect of making money out of, what can I say, not productivity, but making money out of the world economy, which is what they do. And you could argue, I know you're like, in bad times they've had to do just, and it's all very sad. And I'm sure that, break out the mini violin for the banks, but I do think they need to be a bit more community minded. And I would back this. I would say I would do it. And I think it will happen, because it'll go down very well on the Labour side.
Yeah, if you're asking me, do I think it'll happen? The answer is yes. If I think
Yeah.
it should happen, the answer is no.
Mm.
Because for the very reason is you don't reduce taxes on the banks when the cycle goes the other way.
No, but they did bail half of them out when they had a financial crisis. So I think that's sort of,
Oh, crikey, that's 2008.
well,
surely.
it may be, but so was the last bank windfall tax. So
Yeah. And they made money on the shares. Apart from NatWest, they actually made money on the shares.
Yeah, but
So-
NatWest was their biggest investment, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they didn't make money on those. And
Yeah, but that's
they're
a
not
different
strong.
argument. The bailout versus the. Anyway, we're
Yeah.
saying
We're saying
for
we're
the
saying
purpose
yes.
of debate.
We're saying yes.
I
Yeah,
hope you're
yeah,
keeping
yeah.
a check of this. Yeah, we should have a yes. Is a yes or is
Yeah.
a yes or is that a no?
I don't know. Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
a good stamp.
I like a
you
stamp,
need to
yeah.
get a stamp. Yeah. Maybe we
Yeah.
could get a visual stamp.
Not
on.
enough stamps
Anyway.
anymore.
Moving on, because we've got a few more to get through yet. Limiting salary sacrifice on pension contributions.
Well, they shouldn't do it, but it'll be irresistible because it's another one of those sort of stealthy taxes
Yeah.
that no one really notices. But you've got to stop pissing about with pensions so that
Yeah,
people
but
can
this is
plan for their
only-
future.
This is only for future pension contributions. It's not going to act retrospectively. And it's effectively saying that £2,000 you can sacrifice from your salary to go into your pension. And I think that's more than satisfactory. I don't see why we ought to be allowing salary sacrifice for millionaires to be able to load up on taxpayers' money into their pension. I just don't think that's right.
So, but as always, it's not the millionaires you've got to worry about.
It
'cause
is.
they'll
Not
have
many,
their own-
not
their
many
own-
people can find an extra £2,000 a year to throw into their pension pot. Ask somebody working down at Tesco's whether they can find an extra 2,000 to sacrifice each year to put into their pension pot.
Honestly,
You know,
Sean,
it's weighted
at
the moment
at the
to
point
benefit
when
those who've got loads of money.
whether it's this government or future governments, get rid of
Mm.
the triple lock and people haven't got enough money in their pensions, they'll look back at this time and they'll say, we shouldn't have farted about with people's pension. You shouldn't do it. Lay out your stall. This is how it's going to be forever. You've got a final salary pension scheme. You're sitting there with your gin and tonic, well looked after. People today haven't got that.
I've got a very small final salary pension scheme, and I don't think.
But you've got a final salary pension scheme.
I don't think
the listeners don't want to know what your pension
I wouldn't
is.
I wouldn't argue with getting rid. We should never have gotten rid of finals. We should never have allowed companies to close down final salary pension
No.
schemes. I agree with that completely. So we can agree on that. But what I don't agree on is that
But they got tax relief on that.
we're giving millionaires the opportunity to avoid
Well,
paying
this is-
tax on
it's-
money.
it's
And
poppycock all this.
the man who's working God knows what for £30,000 a year at Tesco's, he hasn't got enough money to be able to throw $2,000 into a tax-free savings account. I just think it's all wrong. Limit everybody to the same amount, and I think 2K is probably about right.
Well, I
So
disagree with you, but I do
we're in
agree
agreement.
that it'll be irresistible.
Yeah.
She'll
Okay.
go for it. Yeah.
Electric vehicles, extra tax
Definitely.
on that,
Definitely.
equating to 3p a mile.
I totally agree with that,
Do
and it will
you?
happen.
Yeah, you totally agree. Do you agree with that or not?
Yes, I do, because it's crazy that you and I have to pay, what is it, 160 quid or whatever it is, in theory, to use the roads. Itty boy down the road who's got a Tesla, his car is heavier, is getting off scot-free. So, yeah, I think that's really sensible. I also think we should bring back the deferred increase in fuel duty, which has now become a permanent tax relief.
Or the multiplier or the ladder or whatever.
No, remember it was like 5p on the gallon, and then you're supposed to put it up with inflation, but no one ever does because it's inflationary. Well, let's stop farting about, and if it's part of our tax system, let's do it properly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get rid of it.
Okay.
So electric vehicles is a yes.
Yeah. Cycle to work scheme, same principle as the salary sacrifice. They're talking about limiting that again. It was at one point limited to a bicycle of £1,000 in value.
Seems about right.
That was taken away a few years ago.
Okay.
I'm guessing under the Conservative
It'd be like in the rounding, wouldn't it? Something like that's not worth bothering about.
It's such a small figure, isn't it?
Why would you pay off all the cyclists? What's the point?
I don't know. I think this is maybe trying to appeal to the Farage people in terms of green nonsense, isn't it? But there we go. Cash ISAs, looking about limiting them to 10k as opposed to 20k.
That would be really, really bad, forcing people into stocks and shares ISAs who don't know what they're doing. But will they do it? Will they do it? Yeah, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Well, I think the idea is to try and encourage people to put them into equity ISAs, isn't it? Effectively, rather than
but that should be that shouldn't really be motivated by.
I don't know what you found, but I don't think the cash ISAs are up to much anyway. To be perfectly honest,
no, they're not. Not in certainly in the big banks. Yeah. Do you think she'll do it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I'll go. I was on the fence, but I'll go with you, so that we're in complete alignment.
We are, and finally, increased taxes on banks and gambling companies.
I thought we'd done the bank, but gambling companies.
This is overall increase, not windfall taxes.
Oh.
This is setting
like corporation
them aside.
tax.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
That would be madness.
Yeah. Well, the gambling companies are already Sky Bet. You know, Sky Bet. Yeah. They're moving their headquarters to Malta.
Well, this is
to take them out of the jurisdiction. Well, it might be it, but I don't think you can. You know, we've had this conversation time and time again. I don't think we ought to be held over a barrel by people threatening to do it. If they're going to do that, then we say you've not got a license to practice in this country anymore. Goodbye. They make a lot of money out of this country, and they ought to be paying their fair way. And if they're not paying their fair way, then go. You know, I've not got a lot of sympathy.
Well, it's an easy sort of lefty type point to make.
It's not lefty.
At the point where all the millionaires and all the big companies have legged it.
Well, if they haven't,
and we're left with,
we're a huge market for these people.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so they're not.
But whether I think that they'll tax the gambling company, we've heard so much about it. I think the answer is yes. I don't bet, but I think they will.
Okay, two more positives.
Oh, two more. I thought you said and finally. Sorry,
we finished the what we considered to be the negatives. I suppose the positives: 2-child cap scrapped.
Yeah,
which I think will probably be right at the end of right at the end.
Yeah, it'll be the whiskey moment, won't it?
Yeah, and help with energy bills for the least well off. Yeah. Which the theory is that she's going to take away the added green levy off of energy bills, which will save about 5%.
How will they do it for the less well off? Because it's administered via the energy companies, isn't it?
Well, I'm assuming, well, in that regard, but I'm assuming that they will reclaim that. Either that's a good point. I'm assuming that they will get that money from the energy companies, and they will use that to distribute by way of, almost like those people they took money off of last year in terms of the winter fuel allowance and pension. They'll push it out that way. Sorry, go on.
No, I thought they would just reduce the bills to give something for everyone.
That would be everyone, but I don't think they'll do that.
Okay.
So we'll see how we do on that one this time next week, really.
Okay. Yeah. Stay tuned.